de trouver les solutions, de pouvoir faire des liens avec des sujets complètement séparés les uns des autres.
Have you heard about royalty giving up their titles for love? What could make a man leave his comfort zone to marry a woman with no similar background? Prince Louis of Luxembourg got bitten by the love bug and decided to leave the palace and all the luxury he was used to. In this video, we'll look into their love story and what became of their marriage.
Parce que ça me fascine et parce que c'est quelque chose qui me touche personnellement. Tout ce que j'ai vu du travail de Béatrice.
Prince Louis of Luxembourg was born on the 3rd of August, 1986, as the third son of Grand Duke Henri and Grand Duchess Maria Theresa. Louis was raised in royal traditions and grew up within the splendor of Luxembourg's Grand Ducal court. Looking at him, one could tell he had a balanced life between royal privilege and public service that defines modern European royalty. Growing up, Louis enjoyed the special experiences of being part of a royal family. For his early education, he attended private schools that exposed him to the multiple languages in Luxembourg, such as Luxembourgish, French, and German. This upbringing and his family's philanthropic endeavors made him grow up with a deep sense of responsibility. However, despite his royal duties, his parents ensured their children had a normal childhood. In interviews, the Grand Duke and Grand Duchess often expressed their desire for their children to understand the importance of humility and hard work, especially within the royal family. In his late teens and early 20s, Louis pursued academic and professional goals aligned with his interest in global affairs and communication. According to Royal Central, he attended the International School of Luxembourg before exploring studies abroad, where he gained exposure to international perspectives. Like his siblings, he was expected to play a role in Luxembourg's representation on the global stage, whether through formal engagements or behind-the-scenes contributions to the Grand Ducal court. More than that, Louis also demonstrated an interest in charitable work to further the causes his parents valued so much. If you are wondering what his parents were into, his mother, Grand Duchess Maria Theresa, is particularly known for her dedication to humanitarian causes. Seeing this, Louis followed in her footsteps by supporting initiatives that focused on social development. By the time he became an adult, Louis had stepped fully into the spotlight as he represented Luxembourg at events and encouraged relationships with the country's citizens. Remember, Louis was the third child and was not exactly the next in line to the throne. However, his status as a child in the royal family still carried substantial expectations. According to Hello, Louis's public role was crucial to supporting his family and upholding the reputation of the Grand Ducal court. However, as his life progressed, it became clear that Louis would detract from the royal path initially envisioned for him, the love story. A popular belief is that rich people will marry rich people while royalty will marry royalty. However, Prince Louis of Luxembourg's love story with Tessie Antony defies all beliefs. Their love tale began in an unusual yet heartwarming manner. Tessie was born into a modest family in Luxembourg and was far from the definition of the usual aristocratic circles that royalty mingled with. Her family, with just about enough income, raised her with the determination to succeed in anything she put her mind to. After her education, Tessie pursued a career in the Luxembourg army to serve her country, where she met her future husband. The couple's paths first crossed when Tessie was deployed as part of a peacekeeping mission in Kosovo. It was a role that showed her dedication to service and her strong sense of duty. During this period, fate brought her into Prince Louis's life. Even though they had different backgrounds, the two quickly formed a connection that grew into a deep bond. As their relationship grew, Tessie's calm nature and authenticity stood out for Louis. Unlike the grandeur of royal life that he had become used to, Tessie brought a different and oddly refreshing perspective into the relationship. According to Tessie's interview with The Independent, she described their relationship as one built on mutual respect and shared values, but what bonded them the most was their desire to make a difference in the world. However, their relationship was not without its challenges. Tessie's background as a commoner and military career made her an unsuitable partner for a prince. The Luxembourg royal family, known for its adherence to tradition, faced questions from the public and media about the seemingly unlikely union. Despite the public opinion, Louis and Tessie's love continued to grow, and they remained committed to one another. In 2006, their love story took a quite shocking direction when the couple welcomed their first son, Gabriel. Before the arrival of Gabriel, the news of Tessie's pregnancy and the birth of their child caused a stir in both royal and public circles. It was against all the royal expectations anyone could have. Unlike other couples whose relationship always gets tested with the birth of an unexpected child, their relationship seemed to wax stronger. After the birth of their son, Prince Louis decided to take the bull by the horns by marrying Tessie. He felt no point in keeping her as a girlfriend since she had birthed royalty. As expected, Prince Louis's decision to marry Tessie Antony came with its consequences. Royal protocol required approval from the Luxembourg Parliament for their union to be formally recognized, but Louis chose to marry for love, even when the risks involved were not hidden. Their wedding took place in September 2006. It was a simple affair that had only close family members in attendance. Until today, it is unclear if their simple wedding was because they didn't get approval from the parliament or they just wanted a family get-together. We can all agree that what matters most is their love and commitment to each other. After all, an elaborate wedding does not necessarily translate to a happy, long marriage. Once the wedding took place, Tessie was granted the title of Princess of Luxembourg. If you don't know, this title signaled her official entry into the royal family. From then on, she was no longer seen as just another addition to the family, but as a princess with a meaningful position. In 2007, a year after the wedding, the couple had their second son, Noah. Like royal news, Louis and Tessie's love story captured the public's imagination. Many saw them as a modern royal couple, unafraid to follow their hearts. When Prince Louis and Tessie Antony's relationship became public, it ignited many emotions within the Grand Ducal family. The Luxembourg royal family, which has always been known to take traditions very seriously, faced a crucial departure from their norms, with Louis's choice of a non-royal partner. The media did a good job of comparing Tessie's modest background and military career with Prince Louis's grand family. At first, the family's reactions were rather cautious. While Grand Duke Henri and Grand Duchess Maria Theresa valued family unity, the odd nature of the relationship raised concerns about its public perception. The family's acceptance of Tessie was gradual. For the most part, it was influenced by her genuine love for Louis and her dedication to the responsibilities of being part of the royal family. Also, the public weighed in on Tessie's suitability as a royal partner. Many admired her military service and saw her as a beautiful addition to the monarchy, while others questioned whether she could adapt to the pressures of royal life. To Tatler, Tessie reflected on this period, saying, "It wasn't always easy, but I was determined to prove myself, not just as Louis's partner, but as someone who could contribute to the family and the country." In an interview with People magazine, Louis said, "Love demands sacrifices, and I was willing to make those for the life Tessie and I wanted to build together." Over time, the couple's story became the love tale that people point at when people of different backgrounds plan to be together, renouncing royal privileges. When Prince Louis married Tessie Antony in 2006, his decision to give up his succession rights and royal privileges confounded many people. Under Luxembourg's monarchy rules, marriage to a non-royal without prior approval required a prince to forfeit his place in the line of succession. Louis's choice showed the depth of his love for Tessie and his desire to build a life together, even if it meant stepping away from traditional royal duties. The decision was not taken lightly, especially as Louis had grown up immersed in royal responsibilities and represented the monarchy on various occasions. However, his relationship with Tessie and the birth of their first son, Gabriel, gave him no choice but to choose what was most important to him at the time. In interviews, Louis expressed no regret for his choice at the time. While speaking to Hello magazine, he stated, "I knew what I was giving up, but I also knew that I was gaining a family, love, and the chance to live a life of my choosing." The decision pointed a torch at a modern shift within royal families. It showed the dilemma that came with choosing between tradition and personal freedom. Renouncing his royal privileges altered his life in quite a drastic way. It tested Prince Louis's role within the family and his public image in no small way, but that didn't make him back down. Without the responsibilities and protections of royal status, Louis and Tessie faced a new reality. The couple moved to London to step away from the royal spotlight into the challenges of building an independent life. As for Louis, the transition came with mixed feelings. While he enjoyed the freedom to pursue personal interests and professional endeavors, he also faced the loss of his identity as a public royal figure. Tessie, too, encountered challenges in getting used to her new role as a former royal partner. Not only that, she had to settle into a family life while balancing her career. During this period, the public perception of Louis changed too. While some appreciated his decision to follow his heart, others criticized him for leaving behind his royal obligations. Media coverage, including an article in The Times, described him as the prince who traded a crown for love. Life outside the monarchy brought financial and personal struggles, since the royal household no longer supported Louis and Tessie. This meant taking on jobs and responsibilities to provide for their family. The couple spoke about the difficulties of living away from the palace, with Tessie telling Tatler, "We were learning to deal with a completely new life, and it wasn't always easy. Life after royal titles and raising their children." After relinquishing his royal privileges, Prince Louis began to find his identity outside the Luxembourg monarchy's confines. While he was no longer a prince in the title, he still had the drive to make a meaningful impact. To do this, Louis pursued a career in the private sector, focusing on various professional opportunities. He worked in business development and finance, and tried to forge a path that had nothing to do with his royal background. In interviews, Louis was open about the challenges he faced in getting used to a life of no privilege, which he grew up in. In a 2008 Conversations with The Guardian, he said, "I felt I had to prove myself not just to the public, but to myself. It's hard when you grow up with everything laid out for you, and then you must find your path." As for Tessie, who had a background in the military, she became highly independent and began to pursue interests in social causes. She became involved in several charitable initiatives, including her work with the Tessie Antony Foundation, which focuses on helping young people in conflict zones. Tessie also completed a degree in international relations, which helped her continue her focus on helping others. The lovebirds found common ground in their charitable endeavors, primarily supporting education and mental health initiatives. Having stepped away from the royal spotlight, their shared commitment to social causes helped them build a new identity as public figures focused on positive contributions. Raising their children, Gabriel and Noah, in a world where their father no longer held a royal title, came with challenges. However, Louis and Tessie were determined to provide their sons with a stable, normal upbringing. Thankfully, their children had not grown up in the palace, so they did not miss what they had never experienced. Since they chose to live in London, their children could attend ordinary schools where they interacted with children not from royal families. However, with Louis and Tessie's effort to lead a more private life, their children couldn't entirely escape their royal history. Gabriel and Noah were occasionally in the public eye due to their parents' high-profile backgrounds. In the end, Louis and Tessie found themselves balancing royal traditions, the ones they thought they had left behind in Luxembourg, with the values they wanted to instill in their family. They continued to celebrate birthdays and holidays with more traditional royal customs, like having extended family over for festive occasions. Still, they were also bent on giving their sons the freedom to grow up without public pressure. Tessie spoke in a 2012 interview with Vanity Fair about their approach to parenting. She said, "We don't want our children to grow up thinking that titles or wealth define them. We want them to be good people first, and whatever they choose to do in life, it will come from that foundation." Louis, in particular, was protective of his family's privacy. He was often wary of media attention, which he found intrusive, and he worked hard to shield his children from the constant public interest. Despite this, his public image was inevitably tied to his former royal status, and his family was occasionally photographed at public events or in the media. However, Louis and Tessie were determined to achieve their goals simply to help others. Sometimes, when the opportunity presents itself, they often make it clear that their foundation and charitable activities were not for personal gain, but to make a difference in the world. The divorce and its fallout. Couples always fight, but when it becomes irreconcilable, separation and sometimes divorce might become inevitable. Just like the media has inferred from their publications that the couple were having difficulty settling into a life outside the palace, they were not making things up. One of the key reasons for their separation, as publicly discussed, was the growing strain caused by their differing paths in life. After giving up his royal title, Louis struggled with a life that was, in some ways, a far cry from his initial experiences in the royal family. While Louis tried hard to live a more private life, he also focused on his career and charity work. On the other hand, Tessie traveled more frequently for her foundation and other projects. The physical distance between them, alongside the emotional challenges of transitioning from royal life to an extent, was a key factor in their eventual split. In 2007, the couple announced their separation, and the news caused a stir on the internet. Public reaction was mixed, as many were sympathetic and understanding of the complexities of their relationship, while others were quick to judge. Tessie, in particular, was loud about her commitment to the well-being of their children and her desire to maintain a sense of normalcy for them. She said if she could help it, she wouldn't want the after effect of their breakup to touch them. As with many high-profile divorces, the financial and legal aspects of the split became the only thing the media had to say. While the couple had stepped away from royal responsibilities, the issue of financial security remained important. Prince Louis, though no longer a prince, still had access to wealth and resources tied to his family, while Tessie, as a former royal spouse, found herself rolling with the realities of post-divorce life differently. However, it was reported that both parties had worked to ensure an equitable distribution of assets. Tessie, in interviews, discussed the difficulties of adjusting to life outside the royal family and how the financial agreements were a crucial part of the transition. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Tessie said, "Leaving behind that royal lifestyle was never about money. It was about building something meaningful with Louis. After our divorce, the challenge was about ensuring that we both moved forward, while still being good parents to Gabriel and Noah." She explained that the financial side of their divorce wasn't just about money. It was about providing stability for their children in a new chapter of life. There were also reports of disagreements over the custody of their children, Gabriel and Noah, the divorce's impact and aftermath on Prince Louis. Without a doubt, the divorce took a huge toll on the prince. He felt the emotional pain and the effect on his professional life. For somebody who had already made a considerable sacrifice by renouncing his royal privileges to marry Tessie, he had thought the relationship would last forever. This divorce opened him to mockery. The people who seemed to have been waiting for this fallout blamed him and reminded him of his mistakes of marrying a commoner when he could have married a woman of equal social standing and then retained his title. Professionally, Louis continued to focus on his career, but the emotional challenges he faced during the divorce period weren't an easy thing to get over. He worked on some private business ventures and continued his charitable work, but sources indicated that his focus was somewhat diminished by the emotional turmoil caused by his personal life. The divorce also affected his relationship with his sons, Gabriel and Noah. As parents, both Louis and Tessie were committed to co-parenting, though the separation undoubtedly posed challenges for their children. Gabriel, who was older, had to grow up quickly to face the difficulties of living in two households. In a 2018 interview with Elle, Tessie shared how difficult it was for their children to adjust to the new family structure. She says, "It's not easy for any child when their parents are no longer together. We have worked hard to make sure they know they are loved and supported, no matter what, but it's still a process for them." Louis, too, was deeply concerned about the well-being of his sons and how they would adjust to having a two households as against the united one they had grown up in. He maintained that despite the public attention surrounding the divorce, their emotional health and stability were his top priorities. As the news of his divorce made headlines, people did not stop poking at Prince Louis's emotional wounds. They even compared his experiences with other royals who chose love over duty. For example, Prince Edward of the United Kingdom famously married Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee, in 1937. The story did not only cause a constitutional crisis, but it was also what eventually led to his abdication of the British throne. Similarly, Princess Margaret of the United Kingdom faced challenges with her relationship with divorced commoner Peter Townsend. Although she did not marry him, her love story and the public fallout from her choice caused a conflict between royal duty and personal happiness. However, Prince Louis's situation differs in that his decision did not spark a crisis, but led to a relatively peaceful transition to a life outside the royal spotlight. In Prince Louis's case, the absence of scandal and his continued charitable work set him apart from some of the more turbulent royal love stories in history. Louis's story is of quiet rebellion, a prince who found peace in giving up his title to pursue a personal life. Following his divorce from Tessie Antony, Prince Louis's personal life continued to draw public attention. On the 6th of April, 2021, the Grand Ducal Court announced his engagement to Scarlett Lauren-Serge, a French lawyer. However, the couple's love story was short-lived. The Grand Ducal Court confirmed on the 22nd of February 2002 that Prince Louis and Scarlett Lauren had mutually decided to call off their engagement. What do you think of Prince Louis? Do you believe he went overboard by giving up his royal title? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoy this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Before you go, click on the video displayed on your screen.